Okay, so I've been asked if I could do a short video on how to resize an image in Lightroom Classic, and we're going to resize this image. We're not talking about crop ratios. If we hit the R key and go into the crop tool, and this is where we talk about crop ratios in here. If I wanted to change the crop ratio, this is where I would change it. I would change it within the crop tool. But just going to reset that. This image is as it was captured. It shows you here, it's the original, but we want to export this image. And there's a few different ways to go about doing this. This is going to be exported as an 800 pixels on the long edge. That is to go onto a website, and we've been given specific dimensions for 800 pixels on the longest edge. And the longest edge in a portrait orientation obviously is down this left hand side. So we are in the develop module at the moment. If we look down here, we have copy and paste. If I come into the library module and we look down here, now I have an import and export button. So I have the image highlighted here, and if I hit T, we'll get the toolbar up, and we'll just come into the image at full size so you can see it. So if I hit the export button here, this will bring up this box. Now your box might be a lot smaller, so you can just get the sides and drag it in and drag it out. I like to have it large because I like to see what I'm looking at. I'm just going to cancel that. So that's the export button. I can right click on the image and I can come down to export from here and go into export. I can right click on the thumbnail and go to export and export from here, or I can come up to file and export from here. And if you see to the right hand side, if there's a shortcut, it'll be listed here. So Control Shift and E will bring up the same export dialog box. So I'm just going to select export from here. Now you can see that I've done this a couple of times and I've got a couple of presets set up here, but we're going to take it from the top. So if you look up here, export to hard drive, if I had a USB plugged in and I wanted to export it, it would be in this list here, but in this instance we're going to export to hard drive. We're going to choose a specific folder. You have many options. You could just put it straight on your desktop, but we're going to choose a specific folder, and I'm going to hit the choose button here. In my pictures folder, I've created a folder called web page. If you can see that down here. So I'm going to click this and select that folder. If you haven't already created the folder, you can create it here by hitting new folder and typing in what you want it to be called. So I'm going to select web page and hit the select button. So it's now going into my users, into pictures, into a folder named web page. I want to put a subfolder in here, and this subfolder is going to be called first upload to web. So I'm going to tick this box. Now if I want to change how this is the example of what this is going to appear to look like. So if I hit the customs settings and I hit the edit box, then this box comes up and I can choose, if I just get rid of all of this, what I want to appear here. And I want to put the original file name in there so that I know what this image came from. So if I hit insert in there, then it's going to insert the original file name. I want to add a sequence, a number sequence, so I'm going to insert that there, and I want to put a custom text in. and then so I select custom text and hit done. Now this is giving me a custom text box. So in this custom text box, I'm going to write in here web image 800 pixels. Now you can see this image is going to have quite a long file name, but I would rather know that it's a low resolution image so that I never make the mistake of printing it out. And the start number is going to be 1. I can ignore the video settings. If I come down to file settings here, I want to select JPEG because this is going on the web. It doesn't need to be a DNG or a PSD or an original, just a JPEG. And it's going onto the web, it's going to be viewed on screen, so it will always want to be sRGB. The only time you'd need to change this is if you are going out to Photoshop or you're going to send it to a printers and they use Adobe RGB. In this instance, we're going to stick with sRGB, and we can leave the quality at 100 because we're going to affect the resolution of the image down here. Even if you drop this to about 80, it really wouldn't make much of a difference at all. This is the important bit here. So if I untick the Resize to Fit, you can see this is grayed out and I don't have a drop down box selection here. So if I hit the Resize to Fit, and the dimensions we've been given is 800 pixels on the longest edge. So it doesn't matter whether it's a portrait orientation or a landscape, the longest edge can't exceed 800 pixels per inch. So we're going to select the longest edge and we're going to type in there 800 pixels. We don't want it in centimeters or inches, it's pixels per inch. And if you weren't going to bother redoing any of this and you were going to put this image onto the web, if you are going to print, you will always want to print at the industry standard, which is 300 dots per inch. But because this is going on to be viewed on the web, it will never need to be anything higher than 72 dots per inch. So if you weren't doing any of this resizing, but you sent it out at 72 dots per inch, it's not suitable for printing. It would make a very poor quality print. Unless you were printing, you'd probably get away with it if you were printing 7x5 or smaller. So this is the important bit in this instance, and we are going to sharpen. Output sharpening is different to the sharpening you do within Lightroom. Lightroom does a very intelligent calculation, and you use output sharpening to either go to screen, to print on matte paper, or to print on glossy paper. And in this instance it's going to screen, and we can just leave it at standard. To be quite honest, I don't think you would really notice the difference unless you were doing something absolutely huge. Leave all your metadata in there. So if you've got your copyright embedded, which is a separate video, then you could remove your location information by ticking this box if you don't want your address or anything in there, and it would leave your copyright information in. If you check this box, you can just put copyright only. That's your choice. I'll go into more detail. I can do another video on that if anybody wants it. In this instance, we don't want to watermark it, and we don't want to do anything. We don't want to show an explorer or do anything after export. We want to do nothing. Now, so that I don't ever have to go through this procedure again to send out an image that is going to be suitable to put onto this particular website, then I just come over, and you can see I've already created a couple of presets here, which I'll remove. I just hit the add button and I get to name this preset. So I'm going to name it web page 800 px, and we'll leave it in the user preset, and we hit create, and you can see there it's just came into there. So the next time we come into this export dialog box. If I hit export now and we go and look in that folder, web page, first upload to web, there we go, and there is our image. And if I hover over it, it says dimensions 530 by 800 pixels. Our 800 pixels is our longest edge. That's absolutely fine. So if I wanted to export a different image, for example, if I take this image and I want to go File, Export, and just say, for example, I have been onto a different export, selected a different preset. You can see this is going to Pictures, Facebook, COVID-19 file folder, but I wanted to go into the web page one. So if I select that, you can see now it's going into my web page, into my first upload. If I say wanted to change that subfolder, I could put second upload. That's as easy. That's all I would have to change. But in this case, I wanted to go into the same folder, so I just hit export on there, and then if I come and bring, there we go, now we have two, and this is a landscape orientated image, so the dimensions are 800 by 571, and that's all you need to know. It's a very small file. It's only 542 kbytes, so it isn't even 1 megabit in size, but this image will view quite satisfactorily on a large screen. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the quality there. The quality is just as good. So if I wanted to zoom in, sorry, if I just go back to that image and I want to hit the zoom, and I can zoom in, the quality is absolutely fine for viewing on screen. It won't be fine for printing. So if I just close that now and just say we want to do multiple exposures, multiple exports. So I've hit the control key and I have selected 3 images down here, and now if we go and hit the export button and bring up the export dialog box, now you can see I have multiple presets set up here. So if I want to just send it to the web page, I would click the text here, but if I want to send it out to multiple different folders, I would tick this little box. So I wanted to go to the web page, I wanted to go into a folder for my lockdown talk, and I wanted to go into my Facebook COVID-19 folder. Now if you look over here, this is all grayed out, and it's grayed out because down here it's telling me now we're going to do a batch export, and it's going to these 3 different folders, and each of those presets are set up in a different way. Some of them will be a full resolution JPEG file, and some will be a lower resolution. They'll all have different specifications, and it will go out when I hit batch export. It will go out to those 3 folders at the same time without having to do any extra work whatsoever. So I'm just going to hit cancel that. And I hope that explains everything for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments box down below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching and goodbye.